the southeast of outdoor furniture, fountains, and planters. Visit them in Cornelius off West Catawba Avenue and at whitehousegardens.com. Cloudy with a 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms today, followed by mostly sunny skies and a high near 82. Tonight, mostly clear, the low 58. And then tomorrow, partly sunny with a high near 79. Mike Jackson, WSIC News.
For 41 years, your Auto Plus Auto Parts store is Johnson's Parts and Supply. Johnson's Parts provides quality auto parts, helping you to get your work done quickly. Your Auto Plus Auto Parts store is located at 1112 Shelton Avenue in Statesville, open Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and on Saturdays from 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., closed on Sunday. Johnson's Parts, your Auto Plus Auto Parts store, located at 1112 Shelton Avenue in Statesville.
Hey, this is Jeff McNeely. We hope you go out and visit the fine folks at G&M Milling Company in downtown beautiful Lowray, North Carolina. That's 4000 Taylorsville Highway, 704-873-5758. Give them a call or go visit for all your livestock needs, as far as feed or seed or whatever. They'll be glad to help you out. They're really good folks. I've known them for a long, long time. Go visit G&M Milling, 4000 Taylorsville Highway, Lowray, North Carolina.
Any views expressed in this program do not necessarily represent those of WSIC.
All systems are a go.
Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your seats. Taking Care of Iredell with North Carolina State Representative Jeff McNeely is about to begin. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, Iredell County. Hope everybody's doing well on this Monday morning. It's been a little dreary. Now the sun's come out. Could be some thunderstorms. I'm not a meteorologist. I just look up and see what I see and call it like it is. So I wouldn't put the umbrella away today, but I will say you probably can get out and get some stuff done. So it's good week coming up here. Got a lot going on down in Raleigh, really busy. Got my good friend, Representative Jeffrey Elmore from up in Wilkes County, going to call in for the second part of the show. Jeffrey's been an important part of our educational process in the House for the last probably 6-8 years, and now he's running for lieutenant governor. So glad to talk to him, want to hear about his campaign and how that's going, so can't wait. Make sure you tune in for the second part of the show, but we'll go ahead and dive right into the first part of the show. If anybody's got anything on their mind, please give us a call, 704-873-1400. Let us know what you got going on. Had the North Carolina Republican convention, state convention this past weekend. I went down to that, saw a lot of people I hadn't seen in a while, and that was good. Big crowd, largest ever delegate-wise, 1,800 plus delegates. Had a star-studded, in my opinion, program. Had Governor DeSantis on Friday night. Had Mike Pence, the vice president, on Saturday at lunch, and then had President Donald Trump Saturday night. And all of them spoke well and did a good job this past weekend. Really liked the message that DeSantis put out. He talked, had probably 20 points he hit on, and it was just bam, bam, bam. Just, yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. Mike Pence did a good job at the Saturday lunch. He's an honorable man. Enjoyed listening to him. He even dug in some on January 6th. Thought he should have had maybe a little bit better talk if you're going to bring January 6th up. But, he said what he had to say and needed to say was, in that he did his constitutional duty there. He did not have the ability to overthrow an election. All he could do was reject what 50 Secretary of States had verified, and really there's more power in the legislatures of those states than what he has according to the Constitution as far as who we could send down as delegates, or the electors as they call them, to ratify. So with that being said, just learned a lot, different things. Really thought that with all going on with Donald Trump, that it was going to almost be a Jerry Springer moment. So kind of looking forward to his. And I'd really say he was very subdued, to be honest with you. almost near the end of the speech, and he talked for about an hour and a half, kind of even got into like a little melancholy type thing, that kind of surprised me. Maybe a little more humble than normal. Just thought it would be the other way with all the indictments. Joe, looks like we got us a caller. We'll see what we got here. Hey, this is Representative Jeff McNeely. Who we got?
This is Jesse. Jeff, doing all right, bud?
I'm doing all right, Jesse. I got a part of my show coming up here. I got to call your name out, so you just hang tight. But what you got going on?
Cool. Great. So talking about the Pence verifying election, passing all that there was no evidence of any wrongdoing in the election. So what good are them cameras when they're counting them ballots?
Mm-hmm.
And they got them on camera, literally running a big pile of ballots through there, picking them up out of the front of the machine and putting them back up there and running it through them again and again and again. So how many times did that go on all over the United States?
Well, I know, but you got to understand from Mike Pence's standpoint, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I ain't saying there ain't election problems, but in his constitutional requirement, it is up for him to accept what the 50 states, their secretary signed off, and that could be North Carolina or it could be California, to accept or deny what was sent to them. And if he denies it, it just goes back to the Secretary of States and back to the legislatures of those individual states.
I do have a question.
And they recertify it and go through it again. He can't pick out this state's good and that state's bad. That's not what he can do. He either certifies the whole election or he denies the certification and it goes back. So go ahead.
So what is the purpose of the camera? What's the purpose of even video and that stuff if someone cannot take the evidence, present it, and say, hey, we got to do something here, or even do something about it? What's the point in it?
Well,
so that's my question.
Good question. I always say in these things, if you're the police, why arrest a person when you know the district attorney's office in one of your more liberal counties is going to say, "Oh, that ain't nothing. We're going to let them drop. They just had a couple pounds of marijuana. That ain't no big deal."
Sounds like just a gaslighting thing. Just to
hey,
we got this secured.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
Well, what it sounds like is the atrocities that happen that America. You know what? One thing that Americans want probably more than anything, and even maybe more than freedom, because if you don't have this, you can't have freedom.
That's right.
Justice. We want justice. We are a country that wants to see justice happen because we have laws and people obey the laws. You got other people that don't obey the laws, and we want justice. If we're going to obey the laws, everybody else does.
Too. We need to stick with the real laws, which is the Ten Commandments.
Well, that's right. That's the basis to all of our judicial system, in my opinion.
Yep. Thank you, Jim.
You're welcome, Jesse. You're welcome. We will go about sorting these people out and finding the perpetrators that do election fraud. Yeah. Hopefully all across the whole country, but especially here in North Carolina. Go ahead. Let's take another call, Joe. Hey, this is Representative Jeff McNeely. Who we got?
Hey, Jeff. This is William this morning. How are you?
I'm good, William. How you doing, sir?
I tell you, there's evidence of wrongdoings on that election. We all know that. Common sense tells it. And Donald Trump has it. And that's the reason why they're going, one of the reasons why they're going after him so hard. And that's just a plain, simple fact. People want to argue it. People want to hee-haw around it. But that's exactly what's going on here. And really, in all actuality, they were going after Donald Trump before he became president in 2016. Because here's the deal. You got a man that's successful like he's been from rags to riches several times over. You know the deal. Everybody wants to take a man down when he's successful. And he's the only one, in my opinion, that can handle all that chaos up there in Washington, D.C. Stupidity is the tool of the devil, and Washington, D.C. is a well-kept piece of machinery. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand exactly what you're saying.
He's the only man. We got to get that man back up there, Jeff, and that's just the bottom line. it's not just about Donald Trump. It's about us as America. If we don't get Donald Trump back up there to fight for us, we're in trouble.
Well, I tell you what, this is going to be an interesting run here for president for all that are out there right now. And I don't think we're done seeing people on the Democrat side. I think you're going to see some
good, Ron DeSantis is good too, Jeff. I think he'd make a good president.
I like him.
Yeah. I think he would. And, but it's not, now's not the time. If he can get up there under the coattail of Donald Trump somehow, some way, or if Mike Pence gets back up there as president, run under his coattail, see what the deal is up there in Washington, D.C. for 4 years, and then get him elected in as front runner. DeSantis would be a good one, I think. But, it doesn't really matter. Republican side of things, whoever the candidate is, they're going to find mud to sling on them.
Oh, yeah.
But Donald Trump seems to be the top runner right now, and really, in all actuality, that's all this mess that's going on with him and his indictments. It's really, I think, in the end of the day here, it's going to make him look better, and it's going to make them people up there in Washington D.C., especially the FBI, look like a bunch of fools. Well, that's exactly what they are.
Yeah, and that my next little segment here of the show is talking about his indictments. But I'm going to ask a question, and not really you have to answer or anything, maybe just throwing this out there, because, a line has been crossed by throwing these indictments out like they've done on a past president. So a line has been crossed now. Everybody wants to say nobody's above the law. And they're not. Nobody is above the law. Including the president that's sitting now. He's not above the law either. And so once you've crossed this thing, the next question is, okay, well, when Joe Biden does step out, okay, there's a lot to be talked about here about the witnesses now come forward in Burma about the $5 million bribes that was written to him and his son, and he's willing to testify, and a lot of these different things going on. So I think the Justice Department, I think they've overplayed their hand. And my next question, I guess, is, did they do it on purpose because they want to run against Donald Trump and make sure he's the front runner because they think they can beat him? Or did they do this because they're afraid of him? I don't know the answer to that, but it makes it a curious question of what their strategy here is.
I think it's a little bit of both, Jeff. I think you're on to something there. I think it's a little bit of both. I think, they are definitely afraid of him. I know this might be a bad analogy to look at it this way, but in the Bible, the Romans were scared of Jesus Christ. They didn't know how to handle him, and they didn't know what to do with him. They were scared of him. And so they figured no other alternative was to take him out. But we know what happened there. Jesus chose to go to the cross for us.
That's right.
So here you got Donald Trump, kind of like Jesus, and all them people up there in Washington, D.C. are afraid of him, Jeff. They're afraid of him because he's done been up there, and he started taking their jobs and their opportunities away that they've been used to doing for the last 50-something years or longer. And what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I think they ought to go after Biden. He's no saint. But are they going to? Probably not, especially while he's in office. But I think they need to go after his son as well.
Both
of them rascals sold us down the river, Jeff.
The evidence is stacking up pretty severe. We knew it. It was covered up. It was covered up before the last election. Now it's getting to a point where nobody can ignore it. Just like the fraud going on with elections, it's gotten so rampant, so bad, nobody can ignore it. So it will have to be addressed. So
it's going to come to an ugly head.
Yeah,
coming to an ugly head, Jeff. It's going to get real, real, real.
Oh, I know.
In 24, it's going to get real. But listen, I don't want to hold up any more of your time. I just wanted to vent a little bit, and I appreciate you letting me do that.
You're welcome.
And I appreciate what you do for the state of North Carolina.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you, man. All right. Yeah, we'll go ahead and jump right into this next part. And basically, here we are. The great debate is Espionage Act versus Presidential Records Act. We got another caller? Well, we'll take one more here. We'll get into this. Hey, this is Representative Jeff McNeely. Who we got?
Good morning. This is Rita.
Hey, Rita.
What I want to talk about is the Fort Bragg changing the name.
Yes, ma'am.
It bothers me, and I want to know the $6 million. Who's going to pay that change?
We're talking to them. Me and you, ma'am, and the rest of us out here that pay taxes. That's who's going to pay that $6 million.
Yeah, I just think that's terrible because that's a historical thing.
Well,
and they're trying to destroy all the history of North Carolina.
You know, the kind of ironic thing is I heard Ron DeSantis, I heard Mike Pence, and Donald Trump, all three say if either one of them three get back into the presidential office, they're going to restore it back to Fort Bragg. And I said, okay, that's great. There's another $6 million we're going to spend. So now we're up to 12, and then the next one comes in, takes it back away. How much money are we going to spend on a name? I don't know what that means. I think the atmosphere that happens at the base is a whole lot more critical than the name on the front. You know,
so who voted for that? Who voted to have that money?
You know, this would be the Biden administration pushing this issue, and so you have a lot on the far left that think it's horrible that somebody that would have fought in the Civil War and been in the Confederate side would have any kind of honor bestowed upon him to be named a base after him. I don't know what to say there other than I think we're rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. We got a lot bigger problems than this in our country. I'm not sure why we need to do this, but this is what they're choosing. Doesn't make it right. Kind of makes it crazy if you ask me, ma'am.
It makes me crazy, I tell you that.
Yeah. And
but
you know,
all I want to say, some of the things that they're talking about is a waste of time when we've got major like Fort Bragg and other issues in North Carolina that need to be discussed.
You know, I think we worry more about the drinking water down there than we do about the name. You know, they've got that fixed now, but they had problems with it. I think that's a whole lot more bigger problem than the name was. So there you go.
Yeah, well, I'm a big believer in buying bottled water delivered. Yes, sir. So you have a good day.
You too.
I enjoy your program. I just want people to. I bet a lot of people don't even know about Fort Bragg.
It'll change, and everybody will go, well, Fort Liberty. When did they build that? Where's that at? You know, so that's what it'll be. Yeah, you're right, Miss Rita. Good talking with you.
Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome, man. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Anyway, so Trump gets indicted on 37 counts of withholding documents, false statements, and conspiracy. Now, they also indicted his valet, too, for toting the boxes around, I guess, inside the house. I don't know. It just goes to show you, be careful of the luggage you pick up at the airport. You don't know what could happen to you. So they went after him and the valet. And you know, I guess here's my question. So what about the Biden documents? These were taken. You know, I guess Biden gets a break because he can't remember. You know, he can claim that or he can claim whatever. You know, he's saying, well, he turned them back over immediately. Well, okay, well, he's had them for how many years now since he was vice president? I mean, we're going on and on here. So they were in a garage. They're saying those are more, secure because the garage was locked because he kept his Corvette in there, which was a whole lot more precious than the classified documents, I guess. So, now we have a new witness wanting to come forward to testify to Congress about $5 million bribe for Joe Biden, $5 million for his son. So, this whole thing, are we willing as a Justice Department of the United States, are we willing to go ahead and do what's right then? If we're going to file on one, we need to file on the other. And then don't even get me started on a personal email server with a government web address that was Hillary Clinton's that had multiple classified documents and stuff. And you know, when they found it, it had been beaten with a sledgehammer. So I don't think Donald Trump took any of these classified documents and beat them up with a sledgehammer. Now they're saying he talked about getting rid of some, destroying them. Maybe so. He didn't, but he did talk about it. Okay, well, we talk about a lot of things in this country. But, I mean, if we're going to do this, we got to go all the way then, folks. Let's go ahead. I mean, everybody that's guilty, step up. Go ahead and take your medicine. I think the FBI, I think the Justice Department, with Garland Merrick, who was not allowed to get seated. A lot of y'all don't remember this, but there at the end of the Obama administration, he was up for a Supreme Court appointment, and we blocked it for about a year or so to not allow him to be able to get appointed, to allow us to appoint some of the other ones that came in after him. And don't think that he's not a little PO'd about that. A lot of people don't remember that maybe. Maybe it didn't make enough headlines. So if you don't think there's a vendetta out there, and the man that's over our Justice Department, our federal attorney general, doesn't have some issues, some personal issues he's taking attack on, you're crazy. I guess my question is, so we hear this all the time. So is this what democracy looks like? Scary. All right, Jesse, I told you I was going to bring this up, so pay attention out there. Cloud seeding is being done regularly out in our western states. Could be up to an extra 2 inches of rainfall a year by allowing them to go up and seed these clouds. And what they end up seeding them with is a silver iodinate that they put in to help increase the water. It's kind of like wringing a sponge, so that way you get every bit of the moisture out of these clouds. And they've been in severe drought in the western part of our country for the last while. And, you know, they had record snowfall, precipitation this past winter, which they depend on severely for that to melt over the years, run down the Colorado River, and everybody feed off of it, and it goes on and on, it's the ecosystem. So now they're able to add to that. They're able to add to that through this cloud seeding program. It sounds wonderful. It's been going on since the 50s, supposedly, but I feel like our technology has gotten better. Maybe our chemicals that we're putting in there have gotten better. We always wonder about what's in our atmosphere. I ain't not going to say this is good. I'm not going to say this is bad. All I'll say is it's happening. We talked about the different things you look up and see the vapor trails from the jets, and yeah, I've seen that since I was a kid. Maybe there's more jets in there. It does seem like the vapor trails all of a sudden are more prominent. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theory person here at all. I'm just saying what's out there. And Jesse, I know you like to hear this, so you're probably applauding right now and clapping. So what's I saying? Jesse said, "I told you so." China plans on setting up a listening espionage station in Cuba, 100 miles from Miami. Very close. Cuba's going to work with China. Now, the funny thing is, we've tried to work with Cuba. It's not been so well. Looks like China's having a lot better luck than we are. But, we have the Chinese buying farmland at a pretty astounding pace. We've got a bill in the House where we're trying to limit their ability to buy, especially if it's near military bases or whatnot. Other states don't have that. They've purchased up close to 400,000 acres of farmland in the United States. They also own Smithfield Foods, which is a huge pork producer and supplies a lot of jobs and a lot of incomes in the eastern part of the state. And they've been, by and far, a good partner on the ag side of the equation, and done things that have been a blessing, filled a large void. So, but at what point do we get a little bit nervous about China, purchase of land, the eavesdropping on us, the dependence on us to keep their economy up and going? I don't think we got time to take it because we got to go to commercial break here in about 40 seconds or so. But the last thing I'm going to throw at us is something that I've played with just a little bit, and it's artificial intelligence. It's amazing. It's very scary. China's wanting to push AI onto Western civilization, onto the United States as fast as they can while they limit it in their country. They're building the semiconductors. They're building the chips. But they're limited there, but they're wanting us to go in AI. And, folks, it's pretty wild. Stay tuned. Got Representative Jeff Elmore coming on. Gonna love to talk with him. See ya.
The latest headlines in
Clear with a low around 58. For tomorrow, partly sunny with a high near 79. Mike Jackson, WSIC News.
All right, folks. Coming back here for the second half of the show. I hope you stay tuned. We're going to have a really good show. Got a good friend of mine on the other line. Let's see if we can bring in Jeffrey Elmore here. Representative Jeffrey Elmore, are you there?
Hey, hello, Representative McNeely. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you doing?
Doing well, doing well.
Good. I've told everybody, all right, listeners, so we don't get so confused, and he's going to call me Jeff. I'm going to call him Jeffrey. All right, so that way you know who's talking about what and whatever. So, Mr. Jeffrey Elmore, tell us a little bit about who you are. I know my people here in Iredell maybe know you, but they really want to get to know you. So who is Jeffrey Elmore?
Sure. Jeffrey Elmore. I am representative. I represent Wilkes and Alexander County in the House. I've represented District 94 now for a little over a decade in the State House, and I had public level service on the North Wilkesboro Town Board prior to that. So that's kind of my political background there.
All right. Now, got a wife. I know she's a smart lady because she pulls for NC State. Me and her talk all the time. So, and got two boys.
Oh, yes. Yes, my wife's NC State alumni. She bought me a T-shirt this year that said I married into this crazy mess with a big wolf on it. So, yes, I've learned how to do the finger motion with the ears and the mouth, too. So,
that's right.
I'm Appalachian alumni. We don't understand that. You know?
I got a wife went to App. We got the opposite equation on my side. So, but it's all right. It's all good.
Yeah, reversed. Okay, I got you.
So anyway, so you got two boys, and now tell us what you do for a living when you're not, playing legislator, which takes up a heck of a lot of time, especially with your different roles.
Yeah, I'm a public school teacher. I've taught school for 23 years.
Amen.
And I've, because of my certification, I've actually taught all grade levels. So I've dealt with children from kindergarten all the way through seniors in high school in my teaching career.
And before we get into a lot maybe on this campaign side where you're running for lieutenant governor, we'll talk about Jeffrey Elmore, the state representative. You have been crucial in many areas for us in preparing our state budget. Now you're one of the appropriation chairs, but I know your flavors is education. Killer things, might call me. And you've done so much, Jeffrey. Now, folks, just to give you a little background, I want Jeffrey talk more than me, but anytime there's any kind of money that we need to talk about getting approved, or any kind of appropriation, any kind of a program we'd like to run or whatever, I've gone to Jeffrey. I've gone in and said, Jeffrey, can we do this? Can we make this happen? And he's always been good to me and said yes or no, and always gave. But he's told me, and you've got such much knowledge on the budget and how we spend our money on education is amazing. And you may delve into that a little bit. Just give us your insight on some of the things you do for us as far as that goes.
Sure, and I've always taken an approach as a full appropriations chair, just like as a teacher. I want to lift everybody up as much as I can in the class, of which it would be our membership here, on initiatives that they feel are important and how we can move the needle. In this past time, we have always tried to focus on several things. We want to try to get as much money directly to the classroom as we possibly can, cutting through the bureaucracy at the local level, even at the state level. Also, really trying to focus on the teacher raises. And what's been frustrating with that over the time is Joe Biden's policies that are coming out of Washington, especially in terms of inflation, have really put a damper on the progress that we've made in North Carolina with that. Also trying to focus the instruction on the kids. I'm a big believer that a kid should go to school where they find success. And that may be a charter, that may be a private, that may be an online school. I just want kids to be successful, and that's my passion as a teacher. And wherever that might be, I want that kid to be there because we need our kids feeling successful, being successful, to prepare for their future. And we've taken that mantra in our education budgeting, and that means that the bureaucracy level gets cut, and that's all right. And trying to get the money where the money is needed on the front lines with our teachers and our students.
Well, and I know you helped crafted the House budget, especially the education side, and there was about 10.2 or 10.5% raise for teachers over the biennium, like a 6 and a 4.5. What was it? Something? It was something close to that, right?
Yeah, it was floating around those numbers. Yes.
Yeah.
And we're trying to address our workforce needs there, and make it easier for folks to be teachers. If you've got an interest in being in the classroom, we're trying to reduce those barriers to where you can teach.
Well, you and I both know we sent a good budget over to the Senate, and they just bludgeoned it to death. And so now y'all are stuck in a room fighting for God knows how long, and I don't know how that's coming along. Are we making much headway on the budget, especially on the education side of this? Because I think that's a real important part.
Yes. I've got a meeting this afternoon with the education chair of the Senate. We're working through it. There, of course, are different priorities in each chamber, and I think we'll have a good product when we get done.
Okay. Well, you and I both know that with the inflation side of it, unfortunately, a 10% plus raise sounds wonderful until you figure in about 6 or 7%. And, when you talk about inflation, it doesn't look at food or it doesn't look at the price of gasoline. I love how, politicians like to put in other things. So we know inflation's a lot more than just 6 or 7%. And so that's eating up a lot of this raise, but we are giving it. We're trying. We're showing that we understand, and I think that's critical that we at least show that we understand how this works and that people are struggling, especially school teachers. And so, I want to see the public school teachers get paid as much as we can. I want to see the kid go wherever they think they get educated the best. We heard in a debate, they kept saying this is going to hurt the system. This is going to hurt the system. And I keep thinking to myself, are we raising children or are we raising systems? What are we doing here? We're trying to, at the end, we're talking about the kid. We're talking about the kid, not the whole other part.
That you're exactly right. The education system, let's just put that in quotations, always should be focused on the child. And I feel like in my tenure over 23 years, I've seen that erode over time. And it's sad for parents, it's sad for kids, because that should be our main focus, because that is our next generation. And the inflation piece with the Washington policy, Jeff, it's hard because we're getting constant pressures because we have a lot of people that are not in the workforce, We have folks without the skill set to go into particular fields, and it's starting to really hit us, especially in rural North Carolina.
Oh, yeah. Well, now one other thing. Now, we're not that we're going to walk away from education, because you can't. Because
Sure.
I know that's a major focus, because it's in your life. It's what you do a lot. But let's talk a little bit about North Wilkesboro Speedway.
I love it. Yes.
And you were instrumental in getting funds in the budget to help bring that we'll call it old lady, to bring that lady back to life again, and it was awesome.
Yes. Very exciting for our community. The track had almost turned into a symbol for us. We lost a lot of jobs due to NAFTA and that time period under the Clinton administration when that transition happened. And for our community, because the closing of the track happened at about the same time also. Yeah. So the track sat there dormant, and folks just looked at it and almost felt like this was a reflection of our community as a whole. Like, we will never be able to come back.
Yeah.
We will never be able to grow out of this. And securing those dollars to do that targeted economic investment, preliminary estimates are showing just from the week of the All-Star race that they estimate economic activity for the whole Northwest region, which even filtered down into Statesville, Iredell.
Yeah, we got a bunch of help.
Was over $50 million. So really, we made a small investment on the economic activity that came from it. And now we have a wonderful-looking facility that Speedway Motorsports is very pleased, and a bright future for one of the most historic tracks in the country. Well, so there are ways to help rural economies.
And, we did that. We actually spent money on it. We spent money on Rockingham, I think that's right. And we also put money in down at Charlotte at Concord Motor Speedway. If we hadn't, I don't know if you could have flushed a toilet there in a year or two. They had horrible sewer issues going on there, and so we helped fix that. And people got to understand, I heard people say, well, we should have spent that money on something else. We could have done it. We can always say those things, but the return on investment that we have put in to NASCAR and still believe in that product, it pays back. There's no better investment, I think, that we can make to a point as far as the payback and what it brings the notoriety to our state. Because I don't care what anybody says, this is the heart, this is the home of NASCAR, North Carolina. And so no matter what else at the rest of the world, it all comes back to right here in our area. First race I ever saw, 14-year-old boy, North Wilkesboro Motor Speedway. And it'll always have a place in my heart. Always.
Motorsports has over a $7 billion economic impact annually in North Carolina.
Yeah.
So we are truly the home of motorsports in North Carolina, and the revenues that generate off of it are essential for the economic outlook of our state.
Well, I thank you for your effort there that you did. All right, now we're going to switch gears again. Let's talk about you putting on a completely different hat to a point. Why are you running for lieutenant governor?
Well, I feel like it's very important, Jeff. The lieutenant governor's position is a position that has a foot in the legislature and a foot in the executive branch. It is a position that's truly been created as a behind-the-scenes type position. It's not the front man, okay? It's the person that can actually go into the legislative building, talk with colleagues, help formulate policy, help navigate political waters, and is the conduit to make things happen. Not the person at the front of the podium, but it's the person that's doing the footwork in the legislative building in the executive branch. And I feel like I've got a strong conservative background for that. I'm a solid conservative socially, a solid conservative in dealing with our Second Amendment rights. And I feel like that we need a person in that role that has that skill set and to move our state forward.
Now, and I'm going to ask this, I'm about positive, the lieutenant governor sits on the community college board, correct?
Community College Board and also the State Board of Education.
That's my next question. I knew that answer, but I wanted to make sure on the community. I thought the community college. So once again, here's somebody that's going to be on our two really, of the two main educational branches we have that we go about in the state. And it would really be handy to have somebody that knew a little bit about education, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I feel like it would. That a person, I understand the money that's been put behind initiatives, and I also understand the policy too. So I would actually understand what I'm looking at in those on those boards.
Well, that's just it. I think you crafted a lot of the policy, Jeffrey, that you're going to actually be working with and looking at and helping implement. And you and I both know that the State Board of Education, we're actually talking about changing the structure of it, but whichever way we end up going with, sometimes there's people there that show up with an agenda maybe, or have a reason because they knew somebody and were able to get there that certain different way. And I got to be careful about how I tell about how people get to places. I get in trouble for that here later.
Sure.
But anyway, they're there. And so having somebody that is a school teacher be there on that. I look at you from the employee side of it, not management side necessarily. So you see how it is to be the employee type and be able to have a voice, but also a voice of reason to speak out on what we really need in education and what's not working in education. And we've got a lot that's going on that's good in North Carolina education, but then we're trying to warp it around some of the things like critical race theory and ESG and all these other things we're trying to bring in, and we're darn sure right now kids are a lot more worried about climate change than they are about communist China. And I can tell you right now, in my opinion, communist China is a bigger threat to this country than climate change is. And there's probably a lot of people just went gasped or whatever, but China's coming for us one way or another. Now, that's a whole nother topic, but you understand what is important in education, and it's about getting these kids to be able to read at a grade level in third grade. It's about getting these kids to be able to understand the concepts, about getting them prepared for either a career out here, whether it be white collar or blue collar. You get it, and that's what I think makes you a very unique candidate for lieutenant governor.
Oh, you're spot on, Jeff. Tying all that together, I guess it's what you consider the focus of education. Our goal is to try to make good citizens that understand what it means to be an American, and also to prepare them for the workforce and whatever path that may be. And like you were saying, that may be a certificate because that is the demand in the local economy.
Mm-hmm.
They know that they need the welding certificate because there's welding jobs opening up at the specialized furniture factory, for example. Or they live in an area that they want to go to or stay in that needs higher level training, your graduate degrees or doctorate degrees. That how do we align that in North Carolina to make sure that we're meeting the local economic needs and getting kids where they need to be? And I understand that.
You do, because I mean, like I said, we're rolling school choice and a whole lot of things all in a great big ball that says this kid is now able to be productive in society, to be able to take care of themselves, to have a family they can take care of. We've set them on a path of success, and I feel like for the last good while we've not been doing that. So it's getting better. It's getting better. We got work to do. We need a man in there that knows what kind of work needs to be done. I think that would be Jeffrey Elmore, in my opinion. What are some of the things you want to accomplish? We got about 5 minutes, so we can't talk a whole long time, but what's some of the things you want to accomplish, Jeffrey, if you get into the lieutenant governor's office?
Well, I want to see the role used in the role of communication, like I was talking about before, where I'm working with the legislators to help with their agenda, our conservative agenda that has been in place now for 10 years, and that we keep moving in that direction. and be a conduit of communication between the legislative branch and the executive branch. I think that is a powerful role and a powerful thing if I can get it accomplished, because I've seen the lieutenant governor's position used in different ways, and it's never quite been used in the way that it was intended. So that would be a big accomplishment off the bat. And I want to be an advocate for students and also for parents in the role, that we ensure that parents have a say in their kids' education and that we are doing the most that we can to help our kids.
That's pretty honorable. All right. I know you got probably got a website out there. Do you have anything up yet as far as Jeffrey Elmore for Lieutenant Governor? What is it?
Elmore for NC. Elmore for NC.com.
For NC.com. All right. Well, all right. We got a few minutes here. It's a crowded field already. There's quite a few on the Republican side. Looks like it's going to grow. You know how this works. It's probably going to get up to 10 on each side. Democrat and Republican will work it out. Why Jeffrey Elmore? Why do we need Jeffrey Elmore as our lieutenant governor? And you've told a lot of that. You've said it. But give me your good old sales speech here. Lay it on me.
Sure. You have to look at what we're facing in the fall. And you know how the other side's primary pretty much works. There'll be some names in it, but they pretty much know who their candidate's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And she's already running a campaign based on, I was a governor's daughter, and that pretty much is a legacy, and that you need to continue the legacy by electing me. And we've seen that in American politics before on both sides. And I appreciate a person's last name, but what have you actually done?
Exactly.
And I feel like going into the fall, I'm just a boy from Wilkes County, born and raised, taught school. I've always been a servant leader in my classroom and down here. We need somebody that really will do the job, not just have a last name. And I feel like for our Republican ticket that I'm the candidate that can defeat her in the fall.
I like it. You're exactly right. As far as we're not gonna bring up the name too much, but I'll tell you this much: I didn't see anything that she did in the House. I'm not seeing a whole lot of fruits of her labor over in the Senate. Show me what you are. I would not even know she's really over there in the Senate, and didn't really know she was in the House. Tell you the truth, unless somebody hadn't picked her out and pointed it out. And you've been busy. You have been busy. You have done so much for our state.
And I'm not a person, I take my conservative values very seriously. I'm not a person that always goes with the herd. Whatever I need to do based on my district and my own personal convictions, I do. And I think that's important in a leadership role, too. You have to be able to make decisions based on your beliefs and your values. And I don't feel like that she has done that. I feel like that she votes party line regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And that party line, especially on that side, is pretty extreme now.
Oh yeah. Well, the good thing about Jeffrey Elmore, and you could say the bad thing is you've gone about doing your work quietly, professionally, on point, not a lot of pomp and circumstance. You've made things happen. As the old saying goes, though, you've kept under the radar too. But that's the way I know Jeffrey Elmore, and that's how you work. So now we got to get you out in front of we got to get you above the radar line so people realize all that you have done for North Carolina. And folks, I'm going to tell you what, the last 10 years, this man right here, whether you maybe like it or not, but I think you should, because I see education going the way it should, and that school choice and parents involved, you have been the one that has crafted the majority of the policy, and you have been the one that has made sure it has gotten funded. And every year we've increased our educational budget. I don't care what everybody hollers. We've increased it every year, and this year will probably be the highest we've ever done in education. I think we're going to get to 52% of the budget or something like that. So I appreciate you and all that you do. And Jeffrey, we're getting close here to the end, so I'll go ahead and let you go, and I'll catch you down in Raleigh, but have safe travels. But thank you so much. Thank you so much. And it's Elmore for NC.com.
That's right. I appreciate it, Jeff.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You take care out there, sir. Be good.
Okay.
Good luck
Bye-bye.
with this. See you. Real quick, just want to throw out one thing. I got a few seconds here. Mandy Cohen. Y'all might remember her as our past DHHS director under Cooper during COVID. Her name is now circulated as being one of the top choices for the Center for Disease Control. And the hilarious part is the spin from the left in the media is what a great job she did in North Carolina through the COVID lockdowns. And now I'm sure there's some out there that totally believe she did do a great job. But I'm going to tell you what, and you want to talk about following the science and talk about this and talk about that, all she did was what she was told. And that's what she'll do if she gets to be CDC, because they need somebody that will propel the agenda they have, not take care and watch over what could go on and wrong in our country. I'm scared to death of this lady being the head of the Center for Control of Disease. I'm scared to death. We will see. To me, this just makes something happen. All right, folks. Dear Heavenly Father, dear Lord, we thank you. We pray you protect us. We pray you watch over us. Pray for wisdom, dear Lord, always. Bless this country. Bless this state. In Jesus Christ's name, amen. All right, folks. Till next week. Take care.
On News Talk WSIC.
For 41 years, your Auto Plus Auto Parts store is Johnson's Parts and Supply. Johnson's Parts provides quality.
Hey, this is Representative Jeff McNeely. You still there? Hello. I think they must have gone. Let's try another. Hey, this is Representative Jeff McNeely. You still there?
Yes, sir. Mr. Neely, how you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, you got it, man. Mr. Howell here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I didn't call to get on your program.